Hey, thanks for coming. My name is Phil Tenalia, and this is a video for The Matrix Goes to School. And what I want to do is I want to show you how I start my day. So, come on in with me. This is how I begin. I work in schools, been doing it for many years, and I have been using The Matrix for about 8 or 9 years now, and it works great with those that I am using it with. So I'd like to show you, how I set it up and how I get the matrix going in the school. So come on in. This is my office. And we're going to head into my room. Come on in. I'm going to put my stuff down. So, here, come on in. Have a seat, relax. So my day begins just pretty much like this, and what I do is I already have a matrix that's drawn on the board each day. And the matrix is otherwise known as a psychological flexibility point of view. Oh, I'll put these keys down because we don't need them right now. And the psychological flexibility point of view is basically that we notice what works to get us where we want to go in life. Notice what's working, notice what's not working, and make adjustments. And it turns out that this simple little diagram does a great job of doing that. So if you're into having collaborative conversations with students, if you're a teacher or an educator, then this is the ticket for you. So I'd like to show you a little bit about how I work. So anybody that comes into my room, as I got it set up, the matrix would be right up here so they could see it, and do the same thing in a classroom if you want, and it works great. And it's going to start by basically asking a question. I already have it up on the board, which is who's important to you. And typically, if I'm going to be asking a student that coming in to see me, they're going to tell me that, well, their family would be important to them. I write it on the board. And they might tell me their friends are important to them. A lot of them will say that their teachers are important to them. So we start out with a little conversation like that. And then what we do is I might ask them if there's any kind of yucky stuff that's showing up and on the inside of them that might get in the way. And the yucky stuff is basically going to come down to something like a feeling like fear, which is something that all of us have had at some point in our lives. You feel fear inside of you. There's a car coming at you, or you're in a dangerous situation. Fear shows up, and you're going to want to do something to get away from that fear. So if you're a student, you might be telling me that you're here, you're in school, and you might be experiencing some boredom, for example, which is something they might say very often. Or they might tell me that they might be sad, or they might even say that they're angry. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those words that they're using, we're going to put them up here on the board. And the matrix is actually a diagram of how we learn. And the way it works is that we have the 5 senses here at the top. So everything we've ever learned comes in through one of those 5 senses, comes down inside of us, and it shows up in our minds as whatever we experience that we can now remember or recall. And it also includes thoughts and feelings and urges. And all that stuff is the stuff that shows up inside of us. So we continue with this conversation. And while we do, we're also noticing this horizontal line here, which is the purpose of what people are doing. So if you're a student in school or a human being, you're doing everything to either move toward who and what's important to you, or you're making moves to move away from this uncomfortable stuff like fear showing up inside of you. So we can continue to have this conversation with a student, or you could, or a teacher could in a classroom. And we're going to start to develop this very flexible looking back at what's happening right now in the present moment. And then the idea here is that when this stuff shows up, I don't like how this is going, so let's stop.